Wang Shaoqiang. Bro. Shen Buyu. Born. I clear out the wardrobe right in front of Shen Buyu. His face looks calm, but deep down, he knows clearly. From now on even, the qualification to stay in the room next to mine won't exist anymore. Thinking of this, his tears are almost dried up. In the past life, she knew Shen Buyu loved me, so she forced me to marry him, but I never gave him a good look. After getting our marriage certificate, the more I looked at him, the more an eyesore he became. Even right in front of him, I brought another woman home, step by step, collapsing the family company. At the critical moment, I never expected Shen Buyu would risk his life to save me. From that very second, I completely woke up. I swore that in this life I must treat him well, and absolutely not let him suffer the subservient humiliation like before. Pulling back my thoughts, I find that Shen Buyu is still staring right at me. What are you looking at me for? Didn't you say you had to study hard? Go study. Looking at the empty wardrobe, Shen Buyu doesn't dare speak or ask, obediently walking away. After casually chasing him off, I moved all of his clothes and personal items into my own room, while inwardly imagining tonight, if he finds out he has to share a room with me, will that face of his still be able to keep up that calm look? After taking the time to tidy up the room, I carry the lunchbox to deliver food to Dad. Before even stepping into the office, I hear Father Fang scolding someone. I already told you not to rush this project. You stubbornly refused to listen. Now you know there's a capital shortage, right? Right now, I don't have such a large amount of working capital either. Aren't you pushing me into a corner by doing this, brother-in-law? You can't just abandon me. Sister is gone, and I only have you left as my real brother-in-law. If you don't help me, creditors are going to come knocking at my door. Aren't you also pushing me into a corner right now? Hearing these words, I suddenly remember the script from my past life. His cash flow snapped, and he desperately needed a huge sum of money to turn things around. Back then, Father Fang used the excuse of a capital crunch to refuse him, but afterward he came looking for me instead, calling Father Fang narrow-minded and telling me to pressure Dad into shelling out to patch up the hole for him. The stupidest thing was that I actually went along with it. As a result, from that point on, Fang Group's revenue plummeted severely. During that period, Dad was so busy he was running himself ragged, even falling ill right at the company. As for his uncle's family, he made a fortune relying on the Fang family's money and even established the Sia Group. These people, whenever they needed favors, used Father Fang as a shield, and when they couldn't use him anymore, they'd kick him far away with a single blow. I remember after Dad fell ill, I went to look for my uncle for help, and he turned around and complained to me about how poor and hard-pressed he was. Yet a foolish idiot like me fell for it completely. Only later did I find out that Sia Group was able to surpass Fang Group entirely by continuously bleeding the Fang Group dry. Thinking of this, I deliberately stepped back outside and waited for him to leave before entering the office. Oh, Dad, what's wrong? Why all the heavy sighing? Why did you suddenly come visit Dad like this? Normally, I'd never visit unless I needed something. Seeing this posture of mine, Dad's heart skipped a beat. Why are you looking at Dad like that? Hurry up and eat. Jovong, why did you suddenly bring Dad food? Did your uncle find you and say something? No, Uncle came to look for me. I have no idea. Why didn't he call me? Oh, if he didn't, then good. But I actually do have something. It's nothing major. It's just that my side recently found a talent. Feeling that not hiring him would be such a pity, so I made the special trip here to give Dad a heads up. Ha ha. You scared the life out of Dad. Dad thought it was something serious. All right, when the time comes, just tell him to come straight here. Thanks, Dad. Later on you'll see my eye for talent. You have no shame saying that, do you? Try telling me in what way is Shen Buyu not good. Shen Buyu is good in every single way. It was my fault in the past, but now I see things clearly. Meanwhile, in a different turn of events, taking advantage of the time I went to deliver food, Shen Buyu, with a cold expression in his wheelchair, rolled around checking out the empty rooms in the villa, searching room by room to see where his new living space would be. After checking everywhere, he couldn't find his clothes anywhere. In the end, he had no choice but to head back to the room, his heart constantly guessing where on earth I intended to banish him. Just as he was pondering, not long after, he heard the sound of my car outside, so he hurriedly rushed to the window. In just a second, he recognized it was my car. He leaned out the window just to catch one more glimpse of me. After returning home, carried the lunchbox into the kitchen. Fengxiu, just leave it there for Mom to wash. Don't dirty your hands. It's fine, Mom. It's just a lunchbox. Mom's hands are hands too. I smiled and refused, secretly calculating in my heart to hire a housekeeper for the house, so Mom wouldn't have to work so hard anymore, and planning to take Mom out for spa treatments and proper self-care. In my past life, I hated Shen Buyu, so I hated his mother by association. Dad and Mother Shen had a remarriage, and since I couldn't chase the two of them away, never gave Mother Shen a good look, ordering her around like a servant in the house whenever I could. Thinking about it now, Dad was right. Someone spoiled, rotten since childhood like me, truly didn't deserve to be human. Luckily, heaven gave me another chance. I brought these two matters up with Mother Shen, but she just smiled it off and didn't take it to heart. Seeing her like that, I didn't say anything more. After washing the lunchbox, I went back to my room and started making plans for Mother Shen. Then I remembered. I had only taken a 3-day leave and would soon have to go back to school, so I quickly dragged out my books to review. Living a life all over again, I decided to study financial knowledge to avoid being tricked by others again. My past life. I was too foolish, insisting on following Liu Chaoyao and going abroad, just to stay by his side. I even studied computer science, and after returning to the country, I poured all my effort into programming software for Liu Chaoyao's company. As a result, the moment he turned around, he wiped out every single cent of the Fang Group's funds. Upstairs, Shen Buyu had been keeping his head down, hesitating whether he should go downstairs. In the end, he decided to use getting a drink of water as an excuse to go downstairs and see what I was doing. He poured a cup of water and wandered all around the room without catching a single glimpse of me. Could he have already gone upstairs back to the room? Why so fast? Shen Buyu felt a little aggrieved. He quietly drank all the water, deliberately washed the cup, and then dawdled his way back upstairs. Just at that moment, Mother Shen happened to walk over. Why did you come down for water? Didn't Mom already bring water up to your room? Shen Buyu paused for a moment before wheeling forward. I forgot. When Shen Buyu got back to his room and caught sight of the water pitcher on the table, he finally realized how silly he had been and raised his hand to cover his ears, too embarrassed to even lift his head. Before he could even calm down, he heard a noise outside the door. The very next second, I pushed the door open and walked straight over to the pile of books to rummage through them. Right at that moment, as I turned around, I happened to catch Shen Buyu's gaze, staring intently at me. Simply leaned my face right in close. What are you looking at me for? Is there words stuck to my face or something? My face suddenly zooming in right before his eyes. Made Shen Buyu instantly freeze up. Less than a few seconds later, his breathing gradually grew ragged. Noticing with sharp eyes that his ears had turned red. Why are your ears so red? As I spoke, I reached out and gently poked Shen Buyu's cheek. Startled and without a single thought, he instantly grabbed my hand. But the moment he realized that he had just touched me, he panicked and aggressively swatted my hand away. Seeing my surprised expression, he suddenly flustered, his hands and feet scrambling as he anxiously bowed to apologize. Fengshui, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch you. I'm not even mad. Hearing this, Shen Buyu instantly lifted his head, but not a single word came out. Bit puzzled, I waved my hand right in front of his face. Why aren't you saying anything? It seemed like he had just processed what happened. Though I didn't mind it at all, I simply leaned down and planted a kiss on his forehead, after teasing Shen Buyu to his limit. I grabbed my books and walked out straight away. For dinner, little Feng Xiaotao scurried over on her short little legs to call everyone down to eat. Hearing her, I opened my room's door, scooped up Feng Xiaotao, and headed to the next room to call Shen Buyu. However, when I pushed the door open, I discovered that Shen Buyu was still holding the exact same posture from when I left this afternoon. Was this guy actually kissed so hard? His brain short-circuited. Xiaotao, go downstairs first and help Mom set the bowls and chopsticks. Okay? Okay. I leaned over and planted one more kiss on Shen Buyu, smiling as I looked at him. Shen Buyu only then snapped out of it like he had just woken from a dream, his eyes fluttering slightly as he nodded. Big bro, you're back. While heading down the stairs together, Feng Xiaotao looked utterly confused. Big bro, Why did you make me go down first earlier? Because just then Big Bro was thinking about something very important, and we couldn't make any noise. Right. That's why I told you to go down first and help Mom set the table. Xiao Tao is the goodest girl ever. I turned my head to look at Shen Buyu. Behind me, he still maintained his expressionless face. Though little did I know, at the exact second I turned away, corners of his lips had already curled up slightly. Reaching the dining room, Feng Xiaotao washed her hands and scurried right over. Big Bro, can I sit with you? Of course you can. I stood up and picked the little one up, placing her on the chair beside me. This little sly boots, ever since Big Bro came around, has completely forgotten all about Mom and Dad. You three can also pick food and put it in each other's bowls, you know. I'll pick food for Big Bro, and Big Bro will pick food for me too. What else do you want to eat? As she spoke, Feng Xiaotao pushed her little bowl toward me, pointing at the dish in front of her and saying, "Want to eat this, and this too, and this one." I smiled and picked a piece for her, and in the blink of an eye, I had piled her bowl with everything she wanted to eat. Seeing this mother, Shen couldn't help herself. Feng Shu, stop piling food into her bowl. She can't eat all of that. Humph, I can too. Just watch. I'm going to eat every single bite. Mother. Shen laughed at that. Well then, eat it all up. I told you to let him pick food for you. Defeated Feng Xiaotao lowered her head and furiously dug into her food. Looking at her appearance, I couldn't help but laugh either. Xiaotao really is so adorable. Shen Buyu sat quietly on the side, eating his meal in silence, wondering what was on his mind. In no time at all, Feng Xiaotao cleared her little bowl completely, holding it up. I'm all done eating. Rubbed the top of Feng Xiaotao's head, smiling and praising her. Good job, Xiaotao. You ate it all so cleanly, not wasting a single grain of rice. After finishing her meal, Feng Xiaotao eagerly dragged her textbooks out to show off her brilliant intellect to me. Big Bro, look. I got a 100 on this test time. Flies, and in the blink of an eye, it was already time for Xiaotao to go to bed. Other Shen walked down from upstairs at that moment. Xiaotao, it's time to take a bath. Let me play for a little bit longer. Come on, no way. You have to go to school tomorrow. Seeing she couldn't drag her away. Mother. Shen had no choice but to let go, and suddenly Feng Xiaotao burrowed into my arms, pooting as she looked up and asked, Big Bro, are you going to change back to how you were tomorrow? Hearing that, a stinging sensation hit the bridge of my nose. No wonder she kept clinging to me all evening. Turns out she was scared that tomorrow I wouldn't bother paying attention to her anymore. Of course not. From now on, Big Bro will always play with you. Hearing that, Feng Xiaotao smiled happily, and only then agreed to follow Mother Shen. Once the little one left, I went upstairs too. This situation was really putting Shen Buyu through the ringer, since he'd been stuck in the room all this time. I had no idea where my new room actually was. After taking a shower, I headed over to Shen Buyu's room, only to find him sitting solitarily in his wheelchair. Seeing that, I felt a twinge of heartache. I walked up, wrapped my arms around him from behind, and Feng Shu let me go. Before Shen Buyu could finish, I directly let go of him and wheeled him over to the new room. From now on, this is my room too. Fine, that's right. From now on, this will be our shared room. Shen Buyu. He lowered his head without answering my words, turning around and walking into the bathroom. Leaned my back against the outer door and waited. In my past life, Liu Chaoyao only ever held my hand when we were together. There were times when I thought he cherished my feelings, and that's why he acted that way, only to realize the truth much later. That was just me willingly playing along with a one-sided devotion. The only person he ever loved from start to finish was Anlan. In this life, don't even dream of coming back to harm me. It had been a while, and Shen Buyu still hadn't come out. Shen Buyu, are you okay? Why is it taking so long? I'm done, right here. Not long after, the bathroom door opened, and Shen Buyu rolled out from inside. Why didn't you dry your hair before coming out? Shen Buyu stammered and stuttered, not knowing how to reply. Seeing that, I let out a sigh and turned around to grab a towel. I wheeled Shen Buyu over to the vanity and used the hairdryer to dry his hair for him. After drying his hair, I pushed him over to the bed. By the time I finished showering and got into bed, Shen Buyu was already lying down neatly on the bed, except he was lying a bit far away from me. Next morning, when I opened my eyes, Shen Buyu had just woken up at that exact moment. I don't know since when, but we were curled up against each other. When did you wake up? Just now. Shenbuyu's words were extremely concise. I was always a man of few words, and I couldn't help wanting to tease him a little. So I leaned in close and gently touched his cheek, seeing the tips of his ears turn red again. I smiled involuntarily, after slowly getting ourselves all tidied up. I wheeled Shenbuyu downstairs together. At this time, everyone had just started eating breakfast. Seeing me, Fang Xiaotao jumped up with excitement, cheering Big Bro, hurry up and come sit. I pushed Shenbuyu and walked over with a smile, sitting down next to Xiaotao. Just as breakfast was almost over, Fang Xiaotao suddenly spoke up. Big Bro, why don't you divorce Brother Buyu and marry me instead? Hearing that, I jumped, in shock. What kind of bizarre thought is this? Father Fang, who was drinking milk, ended up choking too. I didn't notice Shenbuyu sneak a look at me before smiling faintly. We only heard Father Fang hurriedly interrupt Fang Xiaotao. All right, hurry up and eat your food. Don't end up being late later. Fang Xiaotao pouted, unhappily, and I smiled and rubbed the top of her head. Later, Big Bro will walk you to school. And Fang Xiaotao instantly cheered right back up. Ha 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 yay. After dropping my little sister off at school, I came home and took Mother Shen out to the spa. Mother Shen didn't want to go at first, but I just dragged her out anyway. Mom, how is it? Is it comfortable? I already got you a membership card, and the money is already loaded onto it. Whenever you have free time, in the future, just come here to pamper your skin. Okay? Don't spend money so carelessly on me. I'm getting older and don't need all this fancy stuff. Mother Shen said that with her mouth, but in her heart, she was very happy. Afterward, I found a massage chair and sat down to wait for Mother Shen, my mood inexplicably turning immensely relaxed. Being reborn is truly too great. I have to enjoy life to the fullest, stay away from those pieces of trash, and protect my family. At a bubble tea shop, Anlan was coaxing a male student. Oh yeah, you know my family's situation. All of my dad's company relies entirely on the Fang Group's projects. Huangshu likes you so much. Can you please help me deal with him for a bit? In case he gets unhappy and snitches to my uncle, then my dad won't be able to do business anymore. Anlan endlessly belittled me to cast herself as the innocent bullied victim. When Zhao Yao heard her say that, his heart was filled with a desire to protect, leaving nothing but disgust toward me. With a heartbroken expression, he grabbed Anlan's hand. All right, fine. I'll help you one last time. Eating him is fine, but I will never accept him. You know my heart only has room for you. Anlan feigned eyes welling up with emotion. Zhao Yao, thank you. After comforting Liu Chaoyao, she used Liu Chaoyao's phone to send a message to Fengshu. Fengshu, let's meet on Saturday. At that time, I was busy helping out in the kitchen and had left my phone on the coffee table in the living room. Right at that moment, my phone chimed. The screen lit up. Shenbuyu accidentally glanced over and saw the text message Liu Chaoyao had sent, his expression instantly sinking. After helping Mother Shen set the bowls and chopsticks, I walked out to the living room to call Shenbuyu to come eat. Just as I was about to wheel him over, he refused. Don't push me, I can do it myself. Hearing that, I thought his pride was acting up again, so I let go of my hands, that I still secretly, and closely followed right behind him, all the way to the dining table. Mother Shin happily introduced the dishes I had cooked, since this was my very first time entering the kitchen. Looked toward Shenbuyu with a bit of anticipation. It's my first time cooking. Even though I had Mom standing by my side guiding me, the taste might not be very good. If it doesn't taste good, don't force yourself too much. Okay? Shenbu. You didn't say a word, just picked up his chopsticks and took a bite. I immediately saw the expression in his eyes undergo an unmistakable change. In no time at all, the food I cooked was completely cleaned out. Seeing that, I felt super happy. Looks like what I made actually tasted pretty good. After finishing the meal, Mother Shen chased me out of the kitchen, leaving me no choice but to head upstairs with Shenbuyu. Went back to my own room, while Shenbuyu, strangely enough, went back to his old room. At first, I didn't mind it, thinking he wanted to study, but when I saw the text message on my phone, instantly understood the issue. Shenbuyu had seen it and misunderstood me. I hurriedly hopped right up out of bed. My hubby is jealous. I've got to go coax him. Opening the door. Shenbuyu was naturally not studying at all, but rather sitting blankly in front of the computer desk. I walked straight over and wheeled him back to our shared bedroom. Back in the room, Shenbuyu still wore a sullen look. I still have work to do. Why did you push me back here? I didn't give him permission for a direct refusal. Picking him up and tossing him onto the bed. Whatever work you have can wait right now. Is midday nap time. I'm not sleepy. I don't want to sleep, Shenbuyu. Tried to leave, but it was too late. I wasn't letting him go. But I am sleepy. I can't sleep without you. Take a nap with me, okay, hubby? After calling out to him, I noticed Shenbuyu had no reaction. So I called out a few more times only to find Shenbuyu frozen right in his tracks. I smiled, then leaned in close and wrapped my arms tightly around him as we drifted off to a sound sleep. The next morning, after waking up, I immediately asked him yesterday, did you happen to see the text message on my phone? I didn't. Shenbuyu flat out denied it. But I directly exposed his lie. You're lying. Look me in the eyes and say that Shenbuyu, feeling helpless, had no choice but to tell the truth. I just accidentally glanced at it, seeing a few words. Of course it was like that. I took out my phone. So you were unhappy because of this? Shenbuyu shot me a glare. Seeing his reaction, I burst out laughing, then looked at him with a dead serious expression. Don't worry, Shenbuyu. This Fengshu only has eyes for you, and you alone. Somewhere else. That night at the Xia family's residence, Uncle Xia sat on the sofa sighing heavily over and over. What are we going to do? My brother-in-law is dead set on refusing to help me anymore. Should I just run away? At least that way, I won't drag you all down with me. Aunt Xia angrily snapped up to her feet, folding her arms around her waist. Go jump off a building and commit suicide. What good does it do for you to act like this? The family wealth has already been poured entirely into that project. You expect me and our child to live on thin air and northwest winds. I was counting on you to make a fortune and bring the money back here. You're already crying doom and suicide over just a tiny little problem. You really don't know how to use your brain at all. Uncle Xia sprang up in elation, eagerly stepping forward to grab Aunt Xia's hand. Wife, you've got a way out. Quick, tell me what we should do. Aunt Xia raised an eyebrow with a smirk. You big fool. You couldn't borrow money because it was your brother-in-law, and close family relations are different. If we change it so that Fengshu goes to borrow it, then everything will instantly be different. Wife, you're way too smart. Uncle Xia understood immediately, overjoyed to the extreme. I'll call Fengshu right now. This kid listens to us the most. With that, he pulled out his phone. Meanwhile, wanting to butter up Liu Chaoyao, Lan went out drinking bubble tea with him, and even went to the movies, dragging it out all the way to the entrance of the apartment complex. Liu Chaoyao turned his head to look at Lan. Thank you for coming to the movies with me. Lan looked at Liu Chaoyao with a gentle expression. I really liked that movie too. It's just that the ending wasn't very satisfying to me. The male lead ended up losing his first love in the end. What a huge pity. Liu Chaoyao wore a regretful expression. It really is a huge pity, and utterly infuriating too. If I were to fall in love, I would definitely, absolutely remain devoted to one person forever. Lan flashed a gentle smile toward Liu Chaoyao. All right, Chaoyao, hurry up and head back. Liu Chaoyao, with his mood as cheerful as a little bird, turned around and left. Watching his retreating figure fade away, Lan instantly dropped her smile, her face turning cold as she muttered, just endure it for a few more days. Once I ship Fengshu and Liu Chaoyao off abroad, then Shenbuyu will be all mine. Inside the bedroom, Shenbuyu grievance-filledly wrapped his arms around me from behind. Why aren't you holding me to sleep anymore? I didn't dare say. It was because I had chickened out. Earlier this afternoon, I never expected that I'd end up getting teased by him to the point of a dizzy head. Hoshu. Shenbuyu called out from behind me in a pitiful tone. It was only then I realized Shenbuyu was faking all along. But upon hearing his voice, I still couldn't help but soften my heart. Thinking back to the things he silently did for me in my past life, I felt a pang of heartache once more. I figured that back then, his heart must have reached the absolute depths of despair. No wonder his legs took a turn for the worse later on, and he directly gave up on treatment. Thinking about it now, he didn't just give up on medical treatment, he directly gave up on everything about himself. Thinking this, I couldn't hold back anymore, turning around to tightly embrace Shenbuyu. No matter what happens in the future, you must never ever give up your life. I want you to live a really good life. Promise me, okay, Shenbuyu? Wore that indifferent, carefree expression again. Then kiss me once, and I'll promise you, Not paying attention to Shenbuyu's unusual expression, I stepped forward without hesitation and pulled him fully into my embrace. He froze up slightly for a moment and immediately leaned in close against me of his own accord. I felt at ease quietly holding him. A moment later, Shenbuyu softly whispered into my ear, Fangshu, "Never leave me. If you do, I'll go completely crazy. And by then, won't even know what kind of crazy things I might do." I suddenly felt like Shenbuyu was telling the truth. He might actually do something insane. Thinking of this, I instinctively shuddered, though I instantly regretted it. That instinctive reaction came at the worst possible time. Shenbuyu would definitely misunderstand something. I immediately looped my arms tightly around Shenbuyu again, looking at him with dead seriousness, to try and erase any misunderstanding I might have just caused. "Shenbuyu, the two of us will stay together forever, never parting for the rest of our lives." Shenbuyu's gaze flickered slightly as he nodded in agreement. "All right, remember every word you said today." At this moment, I had no inkling whatsoever of the calculations churning deep inside Shenbuyu's heart. The next morning, after I finished washing up and went downstairs, Feng Xiaotao looked at me with a concerned expression. "Big bro, what happened to your mouth?" I hurriedly covered my mouth, looking at the little one as I forced an explanation. "Nothing. It's just that I wasn't careful and accidentally bit my own lip. Sorry about this. Big bro has to go to school today. I can't walk you to kindergarten anymore." Feng Xiaotao showed extreme magnanimity, expressing her understanding. "It's okay whenever Big Bro is free in the future. You can take me to school again. It's fine." At this moment, Shenbuyu maintained his usual quiet demeanor, rolling his wheelchair down the stairs. With Feng Xiaotao's sharp eyes, she immediately spotted the abnormality. "Huh, Brother Buyu, what happened to your—" Hearing that, I choked up, instantly coughing violently. This little sister of mine really says things that give people a heart attack right off the bat. Father Fang, who was eating breakfast, heard this and glanced over at Shenbuyu as well, after which he awkwardly cleared his throat and coughed a few times himself. Feng Xiaotao's gaze flitted back and forth between me and Shenbuyu before the little one suddenly let out an "oh," as if she understood. Did Big Bro get into a fight with Brother Buyu or something? I got choked by her words all over again. It originally wasn't even a big deal, but now that my little sister blurted it out, it only made other people's imaginations run even wilder. Right now, my heart was a tangled mess of embarrassment, so I sped up my eating pace, just wanting to quickly escape from this dining table. As for Shenbuyu, he still didn't say a single word, his face completely unblushing, and his heart rate steady. Finishing my meal in a flash, I immediately dashed upstairs to grab my books and bolted straight out of the house, down in the living room. Just as Father Fang was getting ready to leave for work, he was stopped by Shenbuyu. "Father, I want to move out and live on my own with Fengshu." Father Fang pondered for a moment. "You've already made your decision." Shenbuyu looked at him seriously and nodded. "The house is already bought and paid for." Father Fang fell silent for a brief moment, letting out a sigh. "Since you've already bought the house and everything is settled, the two of you must have made up your minds for good. Then go ahead and move out. Just make sure that when you have time, you kindly come back to visit your dad and mom. Okay?" Shenbuyu nodded once more. "Thank you, Father. Fengshu and I will regularly come back to visit you both." Father Fang looked at Shenbuyu with an extremely profound and sincere expression. "Buyu, Fengshu has been spoiled rotten by his father since he was a kid. In the future, I'll still have to trouble you to be understanding with him in many ways. Don't worry, Father. You can rest assured. I will treat Fengshu well." Hearing Shenbuyu's words, Father Fang smiled and walked back into the room. He believed that whatever Shenbuyu promised, he would follow through on. Over at school, I wore a fake plastic smile while taking a call from my uncle. "Fengshu, what are you up to? It's been forever since you came over to visit. Don't you miss your aunt and uncle?" Hearing these words, I inwardly let out a cold snort. Yet out loud, I didn't refuse. "I'm at school. I have classes today. And why don't you come over to your uncle's place for dinner tonight?" All right. Then go study obediently. Uncle won't bother you anymore." The moment I hung up, my expression instantly turned ice cold. Making such an affectionate phone call was simply because they thought I was easy to take advantage of, that's all. On the other end, over at the Xi household, my uncle happily hung up the phone. Aunt Sia took one look at his expression and knew everything had gone smoothly. Next up, night, the two of them just needed to put on a good act. At school, I wore a derisive smile and called back home. The moment the call connected, Shenbuyu's voice came through. Fengshu, what's wrong? Was slightly surprised. I hadn't even spoken a single word yet, and yet Shenbuyu already knew it was my call. Still, I didn't think too much about it. Tell Mom for me. Won't be coming home for dinner tonight. However, as soon as those words left my mouth, the other end of the line suddenly went quiet. I furrowed my brow. Shenbuyu, did you hear me? I only heard Shenbuyu murmur softly. At the living room, Mother Shen came out from the kitchen. Was that Fengshu calling? What did the kid say? Shenbuyu indifferently answered her, lying that the contents of my call were just school matters. Before wheeling himself upstairs, he threw himself into the world of code, and in no time at all, a small program capable of tracking Fengshu's location had been successfully coded. He stared fixedly at the computer screen, the corners of his lips carrying an implied smile. Fengshu, this game has just begun. Inside the classroom, I sneezed in bewilderment. Could I be coming down with a cold? The female classmate sitting next to me immediately handed me a pack of facial tissues, and I smiled and thanked her. I suddenly felt like she looked quite familiar, though I couldn't remember what her name was for the life of me. However, how could I have ever imagined that this scene had been snapped by someone with a hidden agenda and posted on the school forum? This incident fermented rapidly, while I, as the persons involved, remained completely oblivious. Back at home, Shenbuyu stealthily browsed my school forum, laying eyes on that photo and finding my smile in it unbearably, unusually an eyesore. He quickly tracked down the personal info of this girl, a girl from an impoverished family who only managed to test into a good university through her own sheer hard work. The mother, bedridden with illness at home. His gaze turned dangerous as he thought. This girl very likely approached me on purpose. At the same time, on the way to my uncle's house, I finally remembered who that person from earlier was. He was the finance department sister who would later help Liu Chaoyao wipe out all of the Fang Group's assets. In my past life, I had crossed paths with that finance sister once. She was holding a photo of her older sister, her mouth endlessly accusing me of being the murderer, while loudly denouncing me for throwing around the weight of being the young master of the Fang family, driving her older sister to the point where she couldn't withstand the pressure of cyberbullying and ultimately chose to jump off a building. I jumped in shock, slamming on the brakes as I hurriedly pulled out my phone. It seemed her older sister had just passed away recently, yet I genuinely knew nothing whatsoever about this matter. Taking one look at it, I was struck with shock. Turns out someone was spreading malicious rumors on the school forum, and within these rumors, it seemed as though the entire affair had been plotted and schemed by me alone. One look was all it took for me to instantly realize this was someone deliberately targeting me, wanting to use my name to punish this girl. The hateful part was that after a fatality had already been caused, the mastermind shifted all the blame onto me, which consequently led to her younger sister coming after me for revenge later on. Realizing this, I completely lost my peace of mind, hurriedly searching for a nearby internet cafe to successfully wipe this post clean. Back at home, Shenbuyu, discovering that the post had vanished into thin air, instantly understood someone had hacked the school forum, delete it. But these kinds of tricks were mere child's play to him, and in no time at all, he made the post reappear on the forum. Just like that. Inside the internet cafe, I originally intended to shut down the computer and leave only to discover the post abruptly, making a comeback. I hurriedly sat back down to continue operating. Yet the opposing party was always one step faster than me. I was driven mad with fury. I studied it for all those years, only to lose out at the hands of some stranger. The opponent seemed hell-bent on going toe-to-toe with me, and on top of that, they were stronger than me. I knew I had run into a heavyweight opponent. Shenbuyu, are you busy right now? Can you help me with something? I'm not busy. What is it? Can you help me delete a post? I'll send it to you in a bit. When I get back, I'll buy you some sweets. Are you planning to use sweets to bribe me? Can't I? I'll head back early and buy them for you, okay? Then what do you want to eat? Where are you planning to go? Without thinking much, I honestly answered that I was heading to my uncle's place. After hanging up the phone, I immediately forwarded that post to Shenbuyu. Answered honestly that I came to your place after hanging up the phone and immediately sent that post to Shenbuyu. After leaving the internet cafe, I continued driving toward my uncle's place. Back at home, Shenbuyu opened the post, and only then realized that this was the exact post where I had constantly clashed against him, which had made him extremely furious. Looks like everything. Just have to wait until Fengshu got back for him to ask and clear things up. Fengshu, you're here. Aunt missed you to death. It's been nearly a full week since we last saw each other. Look at you. Your little face has gotten so thin. In my heart, I let out a cold laugh. Right. How could that woman's cooking skills ever compare to Aunt's? Aunt's cooking is still the absolute best. All right then, eat a little more later on. I thought I'd at least get to eat a decent meal. Who would have thought that taking one look at the table, it was entirely shades of green and packed with nothing but veggies. Looks like this is meant to play the poverty card and sob story with me. If you're gonna put on an act, you might as well commit to the whole play. Fengshu, you must be laughing at us. It's all because your uncle is useless. The investment project recently suffered a capital rupture, and all the money at home was poured into it. Right now, our family can only afford to eat these kinds of dishes. Don't mind it, hurry up and taste. Your aunt's cooking. Aunt spoke as she ate, picking food and putting it in my bowl. I pushed my rice bowl forward. Onto what kind of project did Uncle invest in to lose so much money? What are you guys planning to do from now on? What else can we plan to do? We'll just eat whatever and scrape by day. But what's most hateful is that this mountain of debt for me and your uncle. No matter how much we pour in, it's never enough. In the future, won't be able to avoid people coming straight to our doorstep to collect debts, and we're even planning to sell this house, covering whatever we can. Fengshu. From now on, don't come looking for your aunt and uncle anymore, in case you get targeted by the debt collectors. Seeing Aunt grow more and more emotional, Uncle immediately stepped up and grabbed her. Stop crying. No matter what I say, I won't let it drag you and our son down. When the time comes, I'll just run away and disappear for good, and this debt will be considered settled. They won't dare demand the debt anymore either. You and our son just live a good life. Uncle spoke as he started walking toward the balcony. Must not be impulsive and go throw your life away. At worst, we'll just pay off the debt together. I sat in front of this dining table, watching them put on their little show, my heart filled with mockery, licking, and the other harmonizing so smoothly. They must have rehearsed this thoroughly beforehand. Well then fine, if they're gonna act, I'll play along too. I hurriedly rushed forward and tightly grabbed Uncle's hand. Uncle, you mustn't have any rash thoughts. How much more money do you owe quick? Hurry and borrow from relatives and friends to make ends meet. Have you borrowed from my dad yet? Uncle let out a long, heavy sigh. I've already been to your dad's place. He said the company also needs working capital and has no spare cash. After that, I successfully hooked out of their mouths the exact sum of money they wanted to scam. Out of me talk about a lion's maw in the past. My foolish self thought they were only borrowing a few tens of millions, never expecting it to be such a massive sum. No wonder Father Feng had to sell off the company's profitable projects. The corners of my mouth curled up into a smile. Since you're lacking money this badly, then let me see how much blood gets drained out of you guys before it's enough. And I know a friend who specializes in second-hand luxury goods. Let's go sell all those items you bought before. Who knows, maybe we can scrape together a bit more to improve everyone's meals. Aunt forced a smile. Fengshu, your aunt? Those things aren't worth much anyway. I think we should just forget it. Don't be like that, Aunt, just rest assured. My friend won't rip us off. It'll definitely fetch a great price. Those items I bought for you and my cousin before were all worth hundreds of thousands. Even reselling them should net a pretty penny. Look at the kind of life you and Uncle are living right now. Food is all such pathetic scraps. Don't let it ruin your health. The food is all trashy dishes. Don't let it affect your health. Selling those things off will at least let us eat a proper meal. And once Uncle is able to make money again, buying anything nice will be a breeze, right? Aunt hadn't even had time to stop me before I pushed her into the bedroom to hunt for items. Shoved things into the bags while telling her how we'd go about selling them. How much will we get? Aunt sneaked items out on the sly, and upon noticing, I hurriedly snatched them back. Aunt, this is the most critical moment right now. We have to be of one heart and mind. As for my dad's side, there's no telling how much he can even pull out. I'll do my best to borrow whatever I can, and later, I'll sell off all of my own valuable belongings too. Let's work together to help Uncle get through this difficult hurdle. Yet listening to my words, Aunt could only mentally curse and swear at the bottom of her heart, before continuing to toss her handbag into a plastic trash bag. Seeing that, I immediately praised her. That's more like it. Aunt, let's both do our best. Watching Aunt's expression, I reveled in secret glee. In the end, I didn't even eat dinner, hauling 2 large bags as I hurriedly bolted back home. Shenbuyu sat by the window watching from afar as my car returned, and couldn't help smiling. He wheeled himself downstairs into the living room, pretending to watch TV. Before long, I pushed the door open, taking a box of pastries back and forth in front of him with a smile. Your hubby is back. I bought these pastries for you. Do you want to taste them? Shenbuyu smiled back as well. So cheerful. Did your uncle cook something delicious for you again? To come back and see you. Didn't even bother eating a single bite of food over there. I sat down beside him. Tell me what you want to eat. I'll go make it for you. I stood up and immediately headed toward the kitchen. You don't need to cook. Just let me go into the kitchen and find something simple to eat. But the moment I stepped into the kitchen, I found Shenbuyu following right behind me. I hurriedly pushed his wheelchair back outside. What are you doing over here? Go upstairs and wait for me. Shenbuyu looked up at me seriously. When you're not at home, I have zero appetite whatsoever. I looked at Shenbuyu's expression. He actually looked kind of adorable right now. I'll cook some noodles for you, okay? How much do you want to eat? Shenbuyu nodded. Not too much is needed. It's getting late, and eating too much keeps you awake. Hearing that, I thought to myself, looks like he wasn't hungry at all. He was just afraid of getting exposed by me. Heh. Then eat a little bit and drink some soup, okay? I raised my hand in an okay gesture and turned around to start cooking. In no time at all, the bowl of noodles was ready, and I carried it to the dining table. Inside Shenbuyu's bowl, there was only a single egg, a few strands of noodles, and half a bowl of soup. He happily ate along with me. Upstairs, Father Fang quietly retreated back into his room. Who's down there? Did Feng Shu come back? Father Fang nodded happily. The young couple is eating downstairs. Feng Shu has really matured ever since he got married. He doesn't push Buyu away anymore either. It's good that the kids are moving out on their own. Mother Shen was surprised. Moving out, Buyu told me about it this morning. Stop worrying blindly. Who knows? Before long, the two of us might even get to enjoy some peace and quiet. Mother Shen didn't say anything further upon hearing that. Downstairs, sensing the time was right, Shenbuyu negotiated with me. Wangshu, let's move out and live on our own. I looked at him in total confusion. Why all of a sudden do you want to move out? Shenbuyu lowered his head to look at his hands. I want us to have a home that truly belongs to the two of us. What do you think? I found it a bit curious and interesting. And where are we moving to? Not far away at all. Right on the middle slope of the mountain, right across from here. My eyes went wide. Isn't that a private luxury villa area? Shenbuyu raised his head and smiled. I bought it. I shot him a skeptical look. Where on earth did you get so much money? Naturally, it's money I earned myself. Don't worry, I've got more than enough to support you. It was only then that I realized I had severely underestimated Shenbuyu's capabilities. I never expected that he would already own a fortune worth hundreds of billions so soon. Just how many more secrets does he have that my past life was completely oblivious to? Then when are we moving? Shenbuyu reached out and grabbed my hand. Can we move out tomorrow? I nodded. Sure. I happen to have no classes tomorrow afternoon. Shenbuyu joyfully planted a kiss on my lips, and I froze for a second before instantly pulling him into my arms to kiss him back. Shenbuyu didn't resist and closed his eyes. A few minutes later, I smiled as I looked at Shenbuyu. You go upstairs first, I'll be right up. Shenbuyu didn't budge, simply watching me busy myself in the kitchen. Seeing this, I had no choice but to speed things up. Once I finished scrubbing the pots and pans, I wheeled Shenbuyu upstairs. Back in the bedroom, the two of us quickly took a hasty shower and climbed into bed. The moment we slipped under the covers, Shenbuyu snuggled right into my arms. I softly called out to Shenbuyu, but he gave me zero response. He seemed to have fallen sound asleep, for real, leaving me to let out a sigh and admit defeat. Oh well, he's my hubby after all, so I'll just let him be. Over at the household, Anlan returned home and discovered that the precious luxury goods she kept hidden had vanished into thin air, causing her to shriek in fury. "Where did all my stuff go?" Aunt stomped out, bellowing. "What are you yelling for? It's not like only your things are gone." Anlan felt like she was about to lose her mind. "Mom, what on earth did you do?" Aunt had no choice but to recount what happened earlier to her. Hearing this, Anlan's eyes flashed with a cold smile. "Mom, how about I go over to Feng Shu's place for a visit tomorrow?" "Sure. Go over there and urge Feng Shu along." The next morning, I opened my eyes and checked the time on my phone, suddenly realizing I was late for class again. Today was Professor's class, and he always took attendance right at the very beginning of the session. Not to mention that final exam scores were closely tied to attendance grades as well. I scrambled out of bed in a panic, washed my face in record time, and bolted straight downstairs. Seeing me, Mother Fang hurriedly waved her hand. "You haven't even eaten breakfast yet." I sprinted straight out of the house without looking back. "I won't eat, there's no time." Mother Fang shook his head and laughed. "This kid has gotten so enthusiastic about going to school lately." At the dining table, Shen Buyu noticed how focused I'd been on my studies recently, which filled him with quiet joy. Could it be that I no longer wanted to go abroad? After eating, Shen Buyu returned to his room and fiddled with his setup, hacking into the school's security camera system. Over at school, I finally made it into class during the very last second of the bell ringing. However, I realized I forgot to bring the textbook for the next period. After pondering for a moment, I had no choice but to ask a junior student who had a free period to swing by my place and grab the book for me. Afterward, I texted Shen Buyu, asking him to leave the book outside the door. At home, although Shen Buyu disliked meeting strangers, figuring it was my friend, he still took the initiative to open the door to receive them. However, when he saw outside the courtyard gate that it was a girl, he instantly lost all interest in hosting. "Why is it a girl? What kind of relationship does she have with me?" The junior student had no clue what was going on. Seeing the book hanging on the door handle, she grabbed it and left immediately. Upstairs, Shen Buyu sat dazed in his wheelchair, his mind beginning to run wild with endless overthinking. Meanwhile, I was completely oblivious back at school that Shen Buyu was back home browsing the school forum to keep track of any news related to me. Before long, the morning hours flew by, and once classes ended, I hurried back home. Upon arriving, Shen had already prepared lunch. After eating, I pushed Shen Buyu back to his room, asking as I pushed his chair, "Shen Buyu, while I was out, did you pack your things yet?" Shen Buyu sat in his wheelchair and answered my question. "I was a bit busy this morning, so let's pack and box everything up together later. Okay? I must be troubling you a lot this time, since I have quite a bit of stuff. We can just sort out what we need first for now, and slowly move the rest later." Shen Buyu smiled and nodded. "Sure, let's pack together." We divided up the tasks inside the room, and in no time at all, we had everything completely packed up. That afternoon, the movers arrived on site to load up our belongings, while I drove Shen Buyu toward our new home. Housekeeper Liu stepped out of the villa to welcome us, and the moment she saw us, she greeted us with a smile. "Sir, madam." "Welcome, sir and madam." Froze for a moment. Being addressed as sir gave me the feeling that I was about to become the head of the household. "What's wrong? Do you not like this form of address?" I hurriedly waved my hand. "No, it's just that I'm a bit unaccustomed to it." "It's fine, you'll gradually get used to it later. This is Housekeeper Liu, who will be taking care of our daily meals and household chores from now on." "Hello, Housekeeper Liu will be troubling you a lot from now on." "It's no trouble at all, sir. This is my duty." "Sir and madam, please go on in and sit for a bit. Let me guide the movers to bring the luggage upstairs," Housekeeper Liu said, and directed everyone to carry the luggage into the master bedroom. I smiled as I wheeled Shen Buyu over to the sofa in the living room. "Hubby, come sit over here." "Sir, welcome home." He and I looked at each other and smiled, after which he snuggled right into my arms, looking at me seriously as he said, "Feng Shu, you said you wouldn't divorce me. As long as you don't abandon me, I will definitely treat you really well. What kind of wild overthinking are you doing again? From now on, this will be our home. So where else could I possibly go, right? Our home." Before long, all the belongings had been moved into the master bedroom. When I opened the door, I was shockingly surprised to discover that the interior decor here was an exact replica of the old house. Shen Buyu approached me, looking on with hopeful eyes as he pressed, "Well, how is it? Do you like it?" "I love it so much, Shen Buyu. I've realized that being able to marry you in this lifetime is the most blissful thing ever. You are the most beautiful and kind-hearted person in the world. Compared to you, I always feel like I'm not good enough for you. No way. Me, you are the most precious treasure. Right at this moment, Housekeeper Lou's voice suddenly echoed from outside. Sir, there's someone claiming to be your cousin, looking for you outside the gates. Damn it! Why did this guy track me down all the way here? I told Shenbuyu to stay upstairs while I went to open the door myself. Stay up here, let me go check it out. The moment Anlan stepped inside, she cast her gaze around, looking left and right. Where's that guy in the wheelchair? Anlan, I remember reminding you already. From now on, you need to address him as brother-in-law. If you keep up this attitude, then don't ever come over again next time. Hearing that Anlan's expression instantly flushed red with intense anger. Sorry, cousin. Just didn't expect that ever since you got married. You'd completely stop hating your brother-in-law. Back then, it was clearly you yourself who forced me to call him the wheelchair-bound guy right along with you. Hearing her words, I was somewhat speechless. This Lan sure knows how to pass the buck, doesn't she? Since when did I ever call Shenbuyu some good-for-nothing cripple? Looked at her with a hint of vigilance. What are you here for, Anlan? Anlan glanced all around, then raised her voice. I'm here to remind you about your appointment with Liu Chaoyao tomorrow. Damn it. I turned my head to look upstairs, and sure enough, I caught sight of Shenbuyu's retreating back. Still, I wasn't feeling guilty at all. If Shenbuyu heard it, well, he heard it. Anlan looked around the luxurious villa with shifting emotions. Cousin, about the money. I asked you to borrow. How far along have you talked with Uncle? My family has debt collectors waiting right outside our door every single day now. How about you take me in? I'm begging you. Sorry, Anlan. Your brother-in-law doesn't like interacting with outsiders. Cousin. How could I possibly be considered an outsider? We're good family, aren't we? Your house is so huge. I can just stay here and keep you company. I let out an inner cold laugh. No, you should still go back home and spend more time with your aunt and uncle, lest you won't have many opportunities once you get married later on. But there are always people coming to our house to collect debts. I'm so scared. For my own flesh and blood, cousin, you can't just abandon me like this. And all the more reason for you to stay home. Times like these are precisely when a family needs to support one another and pull together through thick and thin. With how obedient, sensible, and responsible you are, you certainly won't leave your aunt and uncle hanging, right, Anne? You definitely won't let your aunt and uncle be left all alone. Right, Anne? Anlan was left speechless and had nothing more to say. It's getting late, and I won't keep you here any longer. You should hurry back early, so your aunt and uncle don't worry. Hearing those words, Lan angrily snapped upright, suppressing her fury. She spat out a goodbye and stormed out of the villa. The moment she left, my expression instantly turned icy cold. Still trying to leech off my family. Does she really think I'm still the old Fang Shu from back then? Heading up to the second floor, I smiled as I wrapped my arms around Shenbuyu, who was sitting there dazed from behind. Shenbuyu, is all the packing completely done? Shenbuyu froze for a second before reacting and swatting my hand away. It's getting late. Go wash up and get to bed. I was obviously pissed off because of what Lan said earlier, wasn't he? I hurriedly chased after him and grabbed Shenbuyu's wheelchair, squatting down in front of him and gently stroking his cheeks. What's wrong? Are you mad at me? Shenbuyu turned his face away to avoid me. I smiled as I looked at him. So he actually wanted me to kiss him, didn't he? Shenbuyu flushed red. But before he could even open his mouth, I already leaned in and planted a few kisses on his cheek. Is that enough? Does your mood feel a bit better now? Still angry. The tips of Shenbuyu's ears turned pink. He let out a soft, bashful murmur. Seeing that he was successfully placated, I finally went to take a shower with peace of mind. Next morning after breakfast, I wheeled Shenbuyu around to tour the villa. Shenbuyu, what is this empty room for? Shenbuyu's face turned beet red as he cleared his throat with a soft cough. That's the baby's room. Only one baby room. Isn't one kid a bit too few? My goal is to have 3 kids, you know. Hearing me say that, Shenbuyu's face turned even more flushed and red. No, it's fine. There are still plenty of rooms here. We can always renovate more later. Paying no mind to his unusual behavior, I felt much more at ease upon hearing that. Then let's go, check out the other spots. I pushed Shen Buyu forward to continue our tour, arriving at a massive study room. Seeing the interior setup and layout, I couldn't help praising it. You're still the thoughtful one. Adding an extra bed in here is pretty awesome. Whenever we get tired from working or reading later on, we can just lie down and take a quick nap. I had absolutely no suspicion or inkling about whether Shen Buyu had any other ulterior motives. After walking around the whole morning, Shen Buyu suddenly asked me, "How is it? You see any spots that need remodeling?" "It's pretty great. Nothing needs fixing for now." Suddenly, my eyes caught sight of the garden not far away. "Did you have people plant all the flowers in that garden?" "Yeah, I just casually had someone plant them. If you don't like them, we can dig them up and plant something else." I looked at Shen Buyu, whose gaze drifted slightly as he spoke. I laughed inwardly. Even though Shen Buyu didn't say it out loud, I knew he had always been silently watching over me. No need. I actually love them. Touring the villa took up the whole morning, and soon it was noon. After lunch, I dragged Shen Buyu along for a nap, and before long, he drifted off to sleep. I lay beside him, messing around on my phone for a bit. Today was Saturday, and the scheduled time was fast approaching. I cuddled with Shen Buyu for a little longer and quietly changed into a different outfit. Before heading out, I gave housekeeper Lu a heads up. "When Shen Buyu wakes up later, please pass along a message to him that I had to head out for a bit and we'll be right back." Halfway through driving, I received a call from Lan who notified me that the meetup location was at a KTV joint. I drove straight to that KTV joint. The moment I stepped through the door, I saw Liu Chaoyao and Lan sitting shoulder to shoulder, glued right next to each other. Seeing that, I let out an inner sarcastic laugh, and Lan hurriedly stood up, pulling me down to sit right between her and Liu Chaoyao. Feeling utterly disgusted, I stood right back up and went to sit in another corner. "Cousin, why don't you and brother Zhao Yao sing a duet together?" And Lan kept desperately trying to play matchmaker between me and Liu Chaoyao, even specially picking out a love song for the two of us. So I hurriedly waved my hands in refusal. "Forget it. My throat hasn't been feeling too great these past few days. You two sing, I'll just sit back and listen." Seeing that I was being so reasonable, Liu Chaoyao's originally grim expression softened quite a bit. After that, he looked at Lan with a face full of undisguised joy, then glanced back at the microphone. Watching this scene, I only felt a chill run down my spine, and the mere thought of my past life made me feel even more nauseous. Lost in thought, Lan met Liu Chaoyao's gaze and slightly averted her eyes. Instinctively, she sneaked a glance at me, and seeing that I was just hunching over playing on my phone, she let out a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, I kept using the corner of my eye to keep tabs on the two of them. Witnessing all their little tricks, I laughed inwardly with utter mockery, before putting on an innocent look and raising my head. "Lan, you guys go ahead and sing. I'm waiting to listen." Liu Chaoyao started belting out the lyrics first, and Lan reassuringly chimed in along with him. As they sang their love song, they gazed deeply into each other's eyes with overflowing affection. Taking advantage of the moment they weren't paying attention, whipped out my phone and secretly snapped a photo. Once I got the shot, I tucked my phone back into my pocket, took a sip of the drink on the table, and happily watched their performance with an amused look. When the song ended, Lan grabbed my hand with a bright smile. "Let's play rock, paper, scissors. Whoever loses has to drink." Checked the time on my phone for a second. It was still early anyway, so I might as well play along with them for a bit and see what other cheap tricks they had up their sleeves. After that, Lan lost several rounds in a row and had to drink a bit of juice. She stood up and announced, "You guys just sit here. I'm going to order some more stuff." I didn't miss the way the corner of Lan's mouth curled up into a malicious smile. Seeing that I let out an inner cold laugh, "Can't hold back anymore, and finally ready to make your move, huh?" I was actually getting excited to watch a good show. While she wasn't paying attention, I was quick-witted and fast-handed enough to swap my glass with Lan's glass. Right after that, I grabbed a firm hold of her. "Don't even think about running. Chug this glass first, and then we'll talk." I practically shoved the glass right against her face, left with no other choice. Lan forced a smile and chugged it down. A short while later, I suddenly felt a scorching heat surge through my body, which instantly threw me into a panic. Slipped up and still let her manage to pull her little stunt, but thankfully I noticed it early, so there's still a chance. Realizing that I bolted outward in a rush, I'm going to the restroom for a second, racing into the washroom. Splashed cold water onto my face, but my body kept growing hotter and hotter. If this keeps up, it's going to be bad. I immediately called Shen Buyu to ask for help. Hanging up the phone, Shen Buyu didn't hesitate for a single second as he wheeled himself downstairs and out of the villa, where his assistant stepped up to open the car door for him. "Boss, take me to the Kazuki joint in the south of the city and make it fast." "Yes, sir." It was the first time the assistant had ever seen his boss look so panicked, so he quickly stepped on the gas. Along the way, Shen Buyu gripped his phone tightly and kept urging, "Faster, drive even faster." The assistant could only push the speed higher and higher. Inside the club's restroom, I gritted my teeth hard while staring fixedly toward the door, terrified of making any noise. I have to hold on. Shen Buyu finally used the GPS tracker on my phone to track me down and pull up. Shen Buyu had the assistant lay me down in the back seat, and seeing my agonizing state, Shen Buyu urged the assistant to floor it all the way back home. Once we finally made it back, Shen Buyu hauled me straight into the bathtub. However, the cold water failed to calm me down, leaving Shen Buyu somewhat flustered. In that critical moment, he had no choice but to pull himself out of his wheelchair, dragging himself into the tub and wrapping his arms tightly around me. When I finally woke up again, it was already 11:00 a.m. I clutched my throbbing head and sat up. Last night. What happened last night? Oh right, I got drugged, and then I had Shen Buyu bring me home. Then, thinking up to this point, I jolted in shock. Could it be that me and Shen Buyu immediately got up and marched over to the mirror? Sure enough, my clothes had been changed into a fresh set. Right at that moment, Shen Buyu wheeled himself through the doorway. "Awake already, come on down and eat." I stared at him in a daze. With a lingering sense of doubt, I followed him downstairs. After finishing our meal, I finally mustered up the courage to open my mouth and ask him, "Last night, the two of us, did we?" Shen Buyu's water-drinking motion froze for a second, and he raised his head to glance at me. I originally thought Shen Buyu would dodge the question. To my surprise, he answered me with total honesty. "That's right, Fengshu. We are truly husband and wife now. True husband and wife. Reborn into this second life. Finally got to be by Shen Buyu's side. I silently swore deep in my heart, this lifetime I will cherish Shen Buyu properly, have children with him, and absolutely never let him feel lonely again." Meanwhile, in another turn of events, Anlan and Liu Chaoyao had completely latched onto each other, something I was entirely unaware of. The next day, when I got back from outside, I saw Shen Buyu sitting quietly watching TV in the living room. I walked up and pulled him into an embrace. "Shen Buyu, let's go into the study room to read books for a bit." Shen Buyu nodded. "Sure, let's go." Entering the study, I stood in front of the bookshelf, turned my head to ask him, "What kind of books do you want to read? Do you need me to grab them for you?" Shen Buyu directly opened up his laptop. "No need. You go read, I'll use the computer for a bit." I grabbed a book, walked over, and sat down next to Shen Buyu. "Shen Buyu, what are you thinking about?" I didn't notice that the exact moment I sat down, Shen Buyu had swiftly switched the interface on his computer screen. I was secretly reviewing the security camera footage from the Kazuki joint last night. Didn't want me to know. He turned his head to look at me, wearing a calm smile on his face. "It's nothing. What kind of books did you find?" "I see mostly literature, computer science, and math. I just picked a random one out. Didn't really know what kind of books you liked to read, so I picked a few on literature. If there aren't any you like, you can make a list and buy some more." I waved my hand, speaking in a casual tone. "Forget it. I'm not that big on reading anyway. Buying more would just take up space." I looked at Shen Buyu, fantasizing inwardly. Instead, we could clear that space out for children's storybooks, which we can use later when we have kids with Buyu. Heh. Shen Buyu raised an eyebrow. "Take up space? Are you implying the house is too small, or should we expand the surrounding area?" I hurriedly waved my hands in refusal. No, this is great just the way it is. If it's too big, it'll just feel empty." Right at that moment, my phone rang. After hanging up, Shen Buyu's expression looked a bit grim. I looked at Shen Buyu, asking curiously, "What's wrong?" "Who called?" She said your aunt came looking for trouble with me, telling the two of us to head back there for a visit. I frowned. What is she coming to look for me for at a time like this? Could it be about Anlan from last night? Thinking about that, I put down the book in my hand and stood up. Well then, let's go. As soon as I got back home, I saw Aunt rushing over in a flash, raising her hand as if to slap Shen Buyu across the face. I reacted just in time and grabbed her arm, glaring at her coldly. If you have something to say, spit it out. What do you mean by coming straight at someone with a slap? Aunt yanked her arm away with a look of utter dissatisfaction. I am your aunt. I'm hitting this wheelchair-bound loser, and you dare block me, I furrowed, my brows stepping forward to shield Shen Buyu behind me. Aunt, elders should act like proper elders. His name is Shen Buyu, and he is my husband. Aunt pointed at me with a shocked expression. Feng Shu, don't let him bewitch you. He's nothing good. He's just like his mother, a wicked person. Just how long has he been married to you? He's already brainwashed you into defending him like this. How dare you talk to your aunt like that? I'm your own flesh and blood aunt. I looked at Aunt with a calm expression. Aunt, how he is doesn't concern you. As long as I like him, that's enough. From now on, please show him some respect. Hearing those words, Shen Buyu looked at me with a slightly stirred gaze. Aunt was so mad she was trembling and completely lost for words. I looked at her coldly. Why did you call us back here? If you have something to say, just spit it out straight. Aunt took a deep breath and pointed at Shen Buyu with a fierce expression. The one who seduced a man. Len is none other than him. Looked at Aunt with a calm tone, while finding it utterly ridiculous inside. Shen Buyu holding a grudge against Anlan. What a total joke. It was definitely about Anlan and Liu Chaoyao. Shen Buyu looked at me with a hint of worry in his eyes. Seeing this, I shot him a reassuring look and turned my head back to look at Aunt. Aunt, everything needs to be backed up by solid evidence. You can't just say whatever you want and call it facts. Aunt aggressively pulled out her phone and shoved it in everyone's face. You want evidence, right? This photo was taken the very night Anne stayed over at your house for the night. When she came back, Aunt spotted the marks on her neck. Looking at the photo, I burst out laughing. As expected, this Anlan really had already hooked up with Liu Chaoyao. That's even better. Saves me the trouble of playing matchmaker. Right on time to watch them tear each other to shreds. I pulled out my phone, brought up the video recorded last night, and held it right in front of Aunt. You believe everything your cousin says, Aunt, you've really lost your mind. Shen Buyu spent the entire night sleeping right beside me. So how could he possibly go seduce your cousin? Take a look at this. This is the video I took while out singing last night. How about it? Your cousin can really sing, huh? Aunt stared at the video, gripping her hands tightly together with a pale, gloomy face. My apologies. Looks like I really did misunderstand. It's all that brat Anlan's fault for lying to me. Quickly tell Aunt who is this guy. I put away my phone and introduced Liu Chaoyao to her, deliberately sprinkling my words with plenty of praise, till Aunt was beaming with joy inside. This little brat was dating behind my back and even kept it from me, tricking me into causing such a huge misunderstanding. I'm truly sorry, Feng Shu. It's all because I'm old and getting senile. I looked at Aunt with a calm expression. Aunt, you're joking. There's no need for apologies between us, and you didn't really do anything to me anyway. The main thing is Shen Buyu. Since you treated him like that, if you're going to apologize, you should apologize to him instead. Aunt widened her eyes in absolute disbelief, seeing my expression sink. I continued, Auntie, if you're not going to respect my husband, then from now on, our two families don't need to interact anymore. Aunt's face turned as white as a sheet as she gritted her teeth and stepped up to Shen Buyu. I'm sorry, Buyu, it was all because Aunt acted too rashly out of impulse. Heh. Shen Buyu just gave her a cold stare and let out a soft, dismissive murmur. I looked at Aunt with a smile and reminded her, now that everything is clear, I won't keep you here any longer. Since things turned out like this, you should hurry back home and properly discipline your cousin. Aunt nodded her tone, clearly carrying a hint of eagerness. Right, Feng Shu is still the sensible one. I have to head right back and give that good-for-nothing a good scolding. Well then, I'll head off first. As for your uncle's matter, please keep it in mind and help out, will you? I nodded, smiling as I saw her out the door. Help out my foot. Keep dreaming. Once she left, I reached out to stroke Shen Buyu's cheek, asking with deep concern, does it still hurt? Shen Buyu swatted my hand away again and turned his face aside. I pulled Shen Buyu's hand back close to my face. What's wrong? Are you blaming me for not standing up and fighting back on your behalf? Shen Buyu looked at me from right up close, hesitating for a moment before asking, when did you find out that Liu Chaoyao and Anlan had an affair? I looked at Shen Buyu with a bitter smile on my face. A very long time ago. Knew about it since my past life, and because of that, I even had to pay an extremely miserable price. Hearing that Shen Buyu grabbed my hand, Feng Shu, you don't need to feel sad. It's Liu Chaoyao who isn't worthy of you. You still have me after all, right? I looked into his eyes, and after a long moment, I nodded. That's right, having you is enough. That evening at the villa, I sat out on the balcony, taking in the moonlight. Shen Buyu walked out from inside the room. Feng Shu, why are you out here on the balcony? I smiled and pulled him over to look at the moon together. In another month, my break will finally start, and after that, I'll need to start heading out for my internship. Hearing me say that, Shen Buyu looked at me with surprise. Aren't you planning to go abroad anymore? Heh. I nodded. Then what are your plans for the future? Hearing Shen Buyu's question, I stretched lazily and looked at him with a grin. I'll probably join the Fang group. Need to protect my family's legacy and lead the group to become a top enterprise in the future. Shen Buyu gave a gentle smile. Sure, father. Fang must also be looking forward to you and Fang group. I stared straight into his eyes. What about you? His cheeks flushed red. As long as you're happy, I have no objections. I leaned in close and continued to press him. Then, what about your own happiness? I'm fine with whatever. If you're happy, then I'm happy. Hearing that my entire being shook. That's just how Shen Buyu is. His joy and happiness are entirely tied to me. It's as if I am his entire world. I pulled him into a tight embrace. You're not allowed to just say whatever. Your happiness is also very important, and I want to make you happy too. The next morning, I opened my sleepy eyes and realized I was about to be late for school, so I hurriedly got up to brush my teeth and wash my face. Seeing me wake up, Shen Buyu prepared to get up as well. By the time I frantically finished my personal hygiene and stepped out, he was already sitting in his wheelchair, stubbornly insisting on seeing me off. Why are you up? There's no need to rush. Go back to sleep for a bit longer. Shen Buyu shook his head and wheeled himself toward me. It's fine, I've slept enough. Let's head downstairs together. Downstairs, Shen Buyu and I sat at the table to have breakfast together. His gaze kept staring fixedly at me, feeling self-conscious from being stared at. I shot him a sideways glance. Hurry up and eat, it'll all get cold soon. Shen Buyu smiled, picked up the glass of milk on the table, yet his eyes still didn't leave me. After breakfast, I grabbed my school bag from the side, walked over to Shen Buyu and said, I'm heading out. Once you finish eating, go back upstairs and catch a bit more sleep. With that, before he could even reply, I leaned down and planted a kiss on his cheek. Shen Buyu froze his dazed eyes, staring blankly at me with his hand paused mid-air. I rubbed his cheek again, smiling as I added, be a good boy and get some good rest. I'll be back after classes end. With that, I turned around and strode briskly out of the house. Shen Buyu only snapped back to reality, then touching the cheek that had just been kissed. Corners of his mouth slowly curled upward, and his gaze grew tender. Going to school is so dull. I zoned out for a bit, and classes were already over. However, just as school let out, and I was eagerly rushing outside, someone called out, Feng Shu, wait a second. Suddenly, a girl called my name. Turned my head to look. It was the female classmate from before, who had been framed by those malicious rumors. Is there something you need from me? She scratched her head, her cheeks blushing slightly as she bowed to me. It's nothing much at all. Just wanted to thank you for helping me. Don't mention it. I only did that for my own reasons anyway. Still, for your own safety, you'd better stay a bit further away from me. I didn't want to have too much involvement with her. Saving her life in this lifetime can just be considered repaying the heavens for letting me be reborn. No matter what, I still have to thank you. I'm so sorry that I don't have anything to repay you with right now. Oops, I'm so sorry. I have to get going now, or I'll be late for my part-time job. Goodbye, and thanks again, Fang. With that, she turned around and hurried off. However, I didn't take her words to heart at all, lost entirely in deep thought with knitted brows, because I suddenly realized that I needed to quickly track down the person who posted those malicious articles. That kind of scheming Red hiding in the dark is way too sinister and malicious. Just thinking about it gives me the creeps. In this lifetime, will absolutely not let anything happen to my family. And the Fang group must never collapse either. Shenbuyu and I also have to live really well, no matter who is hiding in the shadows. I will not let them off the hook. Driving back home, I pushed the door open, but didn't see Shenbuyu anywhere. Butler Liu walked out of the kitchen, wiping his hands to greet me. Adam went upstairs after finishing breakfast and hasn't come down since then. Could he still be sleeping? I quickly walked over to the bedroom door, gently pushed it open, and saw Shenbuyu sleeping soundly on the bed. I quietly backed out, gently pulling the door shut. I'll just let him get some proper rest. With that, I turned and walked into the study to start studying. Past 1 in the afternoon, Shenbuyu wheeled himself downstairs. Seeing him, Butler Liu turned back into the kitchen to serve the food onto the table. Shenbuyu sat at the dining table, picked up his chopsticks, and quietly ate. Butler Liu stood nearby watching him, hesitating for a moment before speaking up. "Sir, is he not eating?" Hearing the word "sir," Shenbuyu's eyes lit up as he dropped his chopsticks with a hasty tone. "Did Fangzhi come back?" Butler Liu nodded. "He came back around noon, didn't Madam see, sir?" Shenbuyu hurriedly wheeled himself upstairs. He searched everywhere upstairs, and finally found me in the study room, where I had already slumped over the desk and fallen asleep. Shenbuyu smiled, wheeling himself slowly closer. Was woken up by the sound of the wheelchair, opening my eyes to see Shenbuyu. I felt a wave of joy. "Shenbuyu, you're awake." Shenbuyu nodded, looking at me with immense tenderness. "Are you hungry? Let's go downstairs and eat." My bad. I originally planned to read and study for a bit before heading down for dinner, but who would have thought I'd accidentally doze off? Shenbuyu didn't blame me at all. Studying at this hour naturally makes people sleepy anyway. "Shenbuyu, since you're so smart, you have any good tricks to help me learn faster?" Deep inside, Shenbuyu was secretly overjoyed. In this exact moment, he forgot all about his disability, feeling only that being deeply loved by the guy in front of him was absolute happiness. He smiled warmly. "Sure, after we eat, I'll help you figure something out." I excitedly pulled him into a bear hug. "Buyu, having you is the best." Shenbuyu's cheeks instantly flushed, bright red, and he hurriedly gave a soft cough to hide his embarrassment. "All right, let's go down and eat first." I let go with a smile, stood up, and wheeled him downstairs. Arriving at the dining table, I picked up my chopsticks and kept piling food onto Shenbuyu's plate. Shenbuyu smiled and ate everything I gave him, watching the person he loved, so attentively trying to please him. His heart overflowed with joy. After eating, I wheeled Shenbuyu back into the study. "Hurry up, come help me figure out a method." In my eyes, Shenbuyu was an absolute genius. He definitely had a way to help me. Shenbuyu looked at me with a helpless smile and started getting busy in the study. Before long, Shenbuyu printed out several sets of materials, neatly organized them, and placed them in front of me. "All right, let's begin." After that, Shenbuyu held the materials and attentively guided me through my studies. I listened very seriously as well. I loved Shenbuyu's voice. It was very pleasant to listen to, and it completely chased away any sleepiness. Listening to him explain the key points, a clear framework of knowledge gradually formed in my head. I don't know how much time passed. Shenbuyu put down the materials and raised his hand to check the time. "All right, let's call it a day for studies." I was right in the zone, having finally grasped the concept, and didn't want to stop just like that. So I reached out to grab his sleeve, looking at him pleadingly. "Buyu, can you explain a bit more for me, please? Don't rush. Learning needs to be done step by step. What I've explained today is more than enough. You understand it now, but you need to constantly review, otherwise you might forget it again. I understand everything. Just keep explaining. How about this? I'll give you a few practice problems to try out. If you can solve them, then I'll keep explaining." I raised my head to look at him with total confidence. Shenbuyu smiled helplessly, then picked up a blank sheet of paper and started writing down problems for me. Before long, he handed the paper over to me. "If you can solve these problems, we'll keep studying." I grabbed the paper and nodded excitedly. "It's a promise." At first it was very easy, and I solved them quickly, feeling quite proud of myself. However, when I got to the very last question, froze. I stared at the problem and gritted my teeth. I really got cocky too early. "This question is way too hard." Shenbuyu sat beside me watching my expression, with the corners of his mouth curling into a smile. I tried, but could not solve it. So I had to flip back through the notes that Shenbuyu had prepared. Still, after scribbling through a few drafts, I still couldn't figure it out, and finally let out a sigh, dropping my pen as I looked over at Shenbuyu for help. Buyu, this question is too hard. Did you do this on purpose to give me a hard time? I took the pen and pointed at the problem, explaining it to me. I didn't deliberately try to give you a hard time. This question was originally meant to test your flexibility in applying your knowledge. Read the problem carefully again. I leaned in closer, attentively listening to Shenbuyu explain, and my tightly furrowed brows gradually relaxed.